Look up the word crazy in the dictionary and you might just find an asterisk beside the definition that says, listen to the Subiquitous podcast featuring Sue Duffield and you'll find out what crazy means. Sue's travelogue journey of unfiltered stories, impossible miracles, and faith-filled fun will be revisited right here. So buckle up and let's get going with this humorous travelogue of an unfiltered saint, Subiquitous.
So last week was episode 13, History is Good. This is History is Good, part 2. And we will continue, Jeff. I know they've been waiting with bated breath on this beginnings, the grassroots beginnings of how the Duffields met. I know that they're just waiting for us to just tell the truth.
Yes. When last we saw our heroes...
Yeah, what is that? What is that little? What they used to do that on? What was that?
Oh, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. Looney Tunes.
Whenever they had a continuation.
A continuation.
Yeah.
Last week on Frasier.
Right. Exactly. To be continued.
So, in case someone's listening for the first time, maybe we should recap just a little.
Well, no, they should go listen to the.
Oh, they should just go back. Go back to 13.
Yeah.
But we are now at the Valentine party on a February night, Valentine's Day, probably 1969.
Maybe 9, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I saw a photograph of it the other day. But anyway, that's...
Do you still have that one photograph?
Yep, somewhere.
Oh, man, we have to put that up somewhere.
Yeah, it's in my computer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's blurry, but you can make you out and me. We're not standing together, obviously enough. Or interestingly enough, we're not standing together.
Not standing together?
No,
because... I thought I had a Polaroid of us together. I had a purple dress on.
That
might be in your treasure box.
It could be.
Jeff has
was
a treasure
for a long
box
time.
I have memorabilia.
I have a metal box that we live 25 miles apart, and of course, neither one of us drove in those days.
I know.
So I have a mailbox or a metal box that has every letter.
Oh my!
That you remember mail and stamps?
Yeah. You have all those.
I have every one that you ever sent me.
That is nuts.
Someday it's going to be in a museum.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say that I did write home from youth camp that first time I met you.
You did, and I have that letter.
And I did keep that one. I wrote a letter to my mother and said, I met this kid named Jeffrey Dunsfield.
That's him.
Who unfortunately played the accordion. That's what I said. Unfortunately plays the accordion. Jeffrey Dunsfield.
Anyway, I know we're going to run out of time again.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay, because
we got a good amount of time.
There's much more to us than we met at 13 years old at a camp.
Yeah.
I think.
I know.
We'll let our listeners be the judge of that when we finish.
But here's the thing. This is what I remember your mother, and you don't remember this. So I must have told you. I must have told you I was coming, or maybe it was the Valentine's.
Coming to the Valentine's party?
Yeah.
No.
How did I get that little medallion that she gave me?
There was several instances.
It might have been the Valentine's Day after that.
Could be.
It could have been.
But no, I had no notice you were coming. If I did, I was not aware.
Well, that's why you didn't remember me from camp, which I was just
in those early days
defeated.
This is going to shock you. Yeah. As you know me now, but it's going to really shock you. But in those days when I was 12, 13 years old, my focus was not really on the young ladies.
That's what made it so wonderful.
Yeah.
Your mother raised a very fine boy.
No, I don't know about that. I was just worried. I was just concerned about music.
And that's the truth. That was that way for a long time.
As we all know, it's been established record. I had no life until I met you.
I know.
At youth camp.
We've heard that several times.
Several times, someone said it. Yeah. So that's all I did was play music. So
now it's kind of a blur a little bit after that Valentine's banquet.
It is.
We did start kind of writing back and forth, I think.
We were, and we
did exchange.
I have evidence of that.
We did exchange.
We talked on the phone.
Oh, that was awful, though. Remember the
which
days?
was a concern of our parents, because in those days, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't live in the same county,
Yeah, you paid.
it was a toll
big time.
call. So when we'd get on these 20, 30-minute phone conversations, we would have a phone bill. A call like that would be all of $2 or $3, and my goodness, how was my parents ever going to pay a $2 or $3
Well, I
phone
remembered
bill?
it. I don't know. As
Of course,
it got
in the
a little,
early 70s, that was a lot of money for a phone call.
it was, and it was starting to rank up, and it was starting to.
My
add
father.
up.
I can remember my father, give me a hard time because he had a $30 a month phone.
You in trouble.
You can't even go in a cell phone store these days for $30.
No.
Anyway, so we did. It was, and then we kind of got together at a couple things. Your parents came over with you and your brother not long after that, because
I am completely oblivious to this one.
no, my sister had been born.
Well, I do remember.
She was born when I was 13.
I do remember that.
And they came over. They had been introduced somehow, and through us, and came over to see my sister.
Okay.
And I can remember we had a rec room in the basement of our home.
Yes, you did.
And all finished off. And I can remember the bassinet, or whatever they called it, downstairs there. My mother had it down there, and my sister was laying in it asleep, and your parents walking down there and coming over to see her.
Oh my!
And
I have no recollection.
And you were there. Yeah, you were there. And we were all amazed because my sister had been named Susan. Let me be careful with this. Susan Lynn Duffield.
Right.
And of course, we then discovered that your name was Susan Lee Beatty.
Later to become.
Well, we didn't know that then at 13, but yeah.
I'll tell you what I do remember about your basement is sitting with you on the piano bench and watching you play.
Right.
And then occasionally singing with you there.
That's where it kind of started.
I was trying to think the other day, it really didn't start in church. It started more in your lower level of your home there.
Yep. And I have recollected a few.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you were becoming...
It was really a blur after that.
Well, you were becoming involved in different things in high school.
I had so much I wanted to do. I wasn't just single focused.
Right. And you were, you were the glamour girl of your high school.
No.
And you were
not
most
at
popular.
all. Not even, no.
Oh, yeah.
Not even close.
No, I have a yearbook which will prove differently. And you were, and all the other gentlemen your age and older were starting to chase after you. So you had a posse, so to speak.
Well,
and so you had kind of forgot.
It was a little high school, can I say?
And you kind of forgot
big as
about me at
Bridgeton.
that point. So there was not much communication for a year or so.
No, I know. And then what happened?
Well, your grandmother unfortunately passed away early.
And you did come over.
We came over that night to your,
right.
and you walked in with one of your posse members.
I know,
and
I
one
did.
of your
And I was shocked.
gentleman friends, and you did not expect to see me.
Gentleman friends.
Well, what was he?
You make me sound like...
What was he?
I don't know.
Was
It
he a
just doesn't
gentleman?
sound right.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't really a boyfriend yet. We were just...
I have no idea.
He took me for a ride on his Kawasaki.
His motorcycle. And you walked in not expecting to see Monsieur Duffield sitting on the piano
I saw
bench.
the Oldsmobile sitting out on the street, and I went, oh, dear God.
And you walked in, and you were slightly sheepish.
I was
Which
sheepish.
I don't know why.
I was
because
embarrassed.
I don't know why, because I did nothing.
No, I was 14, getting ready to turn 15.
And you had done nothing. So anyway, your grandmother passes away, unfortunately.
Yes.
And she was, up until that point, you had sung in church and a couple
She
places
played for
like
me
that.
a lot.
And she played for you to sing. So now all of a sudden you do not
I
have
have
a piano
no one
player.
to play for me.
And
no one.
you wanted to enter as much encouragement from your church, the teen talent
Which is now fine
which we don't
arts.
call it competition
No,
anymore
we don't
because
really.
everybody wins. Here, have a trophy. So there's no losers. So you needed a piano player. So I got a letter one day in the mail.
Was it a letter? I didn't call
Oh,
you?
you didn't call. No.
Oh, my
you didn't
word.
call.
I didn't pick up the phone?
Because remember, it cost.
Oh.
And also, you were afraid of the reaction you would get. You were afraid that since you had dismissed me earlier than that you were not interested in me in any kind of boyfriend status that you would get a rather terse response. So you didn't want to call me. So you sent me a letter.
I was embarrassed a little bit.
You
but we
sent me a letter.
Were we going? We weren't going together.
I hadn't spoken to you or communicated with you in a year. No, because
that's right.
you were out riding motorcycles with the other gentlemen in the town and going
that
to
was just one.
Dairy Queens and with Bruce Willis.
No, there was no Dairy Queen. Well, there was Dairy Queen, but not in Penns Grove. It was Big T Burger.
Whatever.
Where you get fries for 10 cents and a burger for 15.
Same difference. And so you were not interested in me. You were living the high life and playing tennis and basketball in school and whatever else.
I was busy.
You were busy.
I was a busy girl.
So you had no time for the piano player who sat in the corner and looked at the walls the rest of the time he wasn't playing the piano.
So then your friend says to you.
Yes.
Herb says what?
He said to me, I wouldn't fool with her. She's just wanting you for your piano playing.
You're going to be a vector.
Yeah, which actually, the truth came out later. He did not want me fooling with you. Because he was interested in you.
You know what? I didn't know that until many years later.
I didn't either.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was very weird.
Because I never even thought about that.
No, you never thought about that, no. But
that's
such
funny.
is the case. That was what happened. I didn't listen to that advice because
it's a riveting podcast.
Yeah, isn't it though?
It's riveting.
So we do have other things to talk about. So and these times got to be up real quick.
Okay.
So I ignored that and we went ahead and I contacted you and we did get together and we played. We did the talent contest and you did well. And you went further than I did. But
I know, but I want to. Can I back up just one year?
We can do whatever you want.
Well, I just want to about the teen talent and the fine art thing.
Yes.
Okay. The year before you played for me.
Yes.
My great aunt Ruth played for me.
Yes.
In Pennsville.
Okay.
And there were 3 gals that sang separately. Okay, we had with 3 soloists. Every single one of us sang the exact same song.
I remember you telling me that.
Is your burden heavy as you bear it all alone? That must have been a big song in 1969.
It was. Reach out to Jesus, Ralph
Reach
Carmichael.
Reach out to Jesus.
Yep, great song.
And what's the last phrase? What's the last line?
He's
reaching out to you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All 3 of us. Now it made it easy for the judges.
Well, there's a point to be made
but
there.
Let me tell you the funniest story of all that. This was all of pretty much Salem County. Okay. All 3 girls. All 3 of us, and I don't have a picture, but I'll never forget my mother's reaction because, my mother was always about the visual.
Yes.
All 3 of us not only sang the same song,
however,
we had a modified form of the very same dress. It was like we all went to Allmart's that week.
You probably did.
And I bought the pink version. One of the girls had a yellow one, and the other one had light blue. And the only thing different was my top was a little different. But all 3 of us had the same dress, and we had the same song.
This is riveting now. We've got them on the edge of their seats.
And I won anyway.
Yes,
which was
you did.
nice. But I couldn't sing back then worth the lick. I'm saying,
Is your burden happy as you bear it all alone?
I mean, it was terrible.
You didn't sound like that.
So anyway, translating later.
So now we're joining into our 14 and 15 years, and we started getting requests to sing in other churches.
And how did that happen again?
The first time I remember was you got a phone call to sing at Baraka Baptist Church
my word,
in
that's
my hometown for a
youth
dinner,
night,
some kind of dinner, and there was another group that sang that night, and then us.
Oh, you're killing me.
And
that's right.
I somehow had the forethought. For once in my life.
And do we have that tape still?
No, that's long gone.
See, this is so sad. We taped this stuff. Why didn't we archive it or keep it?
Why didn't we save a lot of things?
All right, can I just say one thing about that night?
Okay.
They asked me to sing 3 songs.
And the audience is going to find this hard to believe.
And
but couldn't put 5 words together.
No, I'm saying they wanted me to sing 3 songs and then share my testimony in between.
And you couldn't put 5 words together.
Was horrified.
Yeah,
Dear God, what am I going to say?
Yeah,
I mean.
So you sang mostly, and I got paid by the note.
Yes, you got
because I played every one one of them as a record.
And I ran out of gas by the third song.
You
remember?
did. You did. Yeah, your throat was giving out on you.
Whatever it was.
Combination of nerves and
13 years old, could not. Maybe you
were older than
maybe
that.
we were 14.
No, we were almost 15 by that time. Yeah,
but even so,
yeah. And then I think they asked you to sing at my church.
Right after that,
and I think word got out to your hometown area.
Have Jeff come over and play for you.
Yeah, a couple of the small churches, and also then somebody got the brainy idea.
Oh no!
To have you make a record.
Which really was not my idea.
No, I didn't say it was you.
No. You were.
It wasn't mine either.
I want to say, in a nice way, that Don Storms was trying to figure out how he could make a buck again. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean.
Oh, no, I've done the same thing.
I know these producers. Yeah. I know what they do. Oh, look at her. She looks good. She'll probably sell 100 albums.
Well, you were very cute looking, and I have the album cover picture.
It's
I actually
sad,
have the album. I have the album cover picture to prove it. And for a small donation, I'll put it up on social media. And
but
I should
again,
do that anyway.
I was in a panic state thinking, what in the world am I going to... You mean go and record my voice?
Now you actually have to have 10 songs.
10 songs? I have to pick out 10 songs for an album?
For an album. And for those of you in the younger generation, when we say album, we're talking vinyl.
Oh, my word.
This was not a CD, cassette, even 8 tracks. This was vinyl.
I don't think we ever got, later on, we never got cassettes or 8 tracks made in this one.
Just records or vinyl.
But again, I was singing more, and I did enter the next year into fine arts again on Teen Talent and went to the Trenton War Memorial.
Yes, you did. You
play
went to
for
the
me.
State. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I did win.
You didn't win there.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
No, yes, you did. You did. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You did. You went to the regionals.
Went to the regional, and then I went up to the regional up in North Jersey.
Yes,
and that's when I. But during all of that,
yes.
Okay, during all of that,
yes,
there was another singer,
yes,
that hit the world. I mean, she hit Jersey big time. I was only 12 when I heard her the first time.
Yeah, but this was later.
But every other year, it seemed like we were competing, not against each other. We never did. But it was her year, my year, her year, my year. And it was Evie Tornquist that went on, who is one of our dear friends as well.
Known as Evie Carlson these days. But
and my goodness, her career just went literally catapult, as many have as a result of the Assemblies of God Teen Talent Search. We have many. Natalie Grant, for one. I mean, you have so many that
we just happen to be 2 that didn't.
We just happen to be 2 that flossed.
Flossed?
Lost.
Oh, lost.
You lost. Well, maybe flossed lost too. You lost to an accordion player, as we talked about.
We recounted this in an earlier podcast too.
Yes, and I should not have changed my song.
Okay.
Remember I changed my song when I went up to...
I think I do.
And I thought, that was dumb. I won with that one. Why would I want to change my song?
I don't know.
But I was not confident. But even so, after that, coming home with that trophy, that first year, that's when my father and you... And I think Don Storms and a few other people that were in the...
I don't think I was in on the process, but
well, they all said, well, that's a good idea. And my father had some money that was left to him from his mother at that time.
He went and borrowed it from the bank.
No, he had a couple, not a lot of money. It was
he borrowed it from the bank because he kept telling me, we're going to sell these records so I can pay the loan back.
So we did my first album, which was called...
Sheltered in the Arms of God.
And was Nick Bruno on this one? No, Nick Bruno was on the second one.
Yours truly played on that one.
Okay, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. And then Nick was participating in the second one, which was a couple of years later. At
Baldwin Sound Studio in Harrisburg, which is no longer there, unfortunately. What a great studio that was.
And then we started singing around the area, and we started getting invites to different churches, Methodist churches, Baptist churches, whatever. We went, a lot of different places when we could do it in our spare time, as it were, weekends.
And we tried to be hip.
And then then I was playing for you, and you were singing, and it was Sue Beatty and Jeff Duffield.
Sue Beatty and Jeff Duffield. That's right. And then.
Because we were obviously...
We were not married.
We were not married, no.
And our parents
had to take us wherever we went.
Right.
Because we couldn't drive.
No.
Until we reached the magical age of 18 or so. And then
What was the first car you had that we could finally put all of the equipment in?
Well, the very first one was that 64 Mercury Comet.
That brown Comet.
That brown Comet was a piece of
Mercury
junk.
Comet.
Yeah.
Is that the one that broke down on the road that time?
That was the one the muffler fell off that my father and I put on because it had a bad muffler. So we decided to play mechanic.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
that was bright.
And it fell off in the middle of the night after I dropped you off, as a matter of fact, out in the middle of
That's right.
out in the middle of farm country in southern New Jersey at 1:00 in the morning. And I called my father to wake him up to tell him, and he had to come out, and he was not happy, but he came out and rescued me.
And I always felt, now I look back, honey, I really do, and I have an apology. You know, the honorariums weren't that big. They really weren't. But for us, it was like,
They
wow.
were
They weren't too
pretty
bad.
good.
Like, if we got $50, that was big time.
Well,
right?
our most infamous, we may have mentioned this, but our most infamous was a youth meeting we did in southern New
we got
Jersey.
$6 or something.
We didn't get that much.
Oh, was it $3?
$3.18.
And we
if
put
I
gas
remember,
in my father's tank.
in your father's big Pontiac.
and I bought everybody McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And that was the night where the youth leader did not know who your dad and my dad were, sitting in the back, and he
Yeah,
came
who
up
are these
and,
old men sitting in the back?
and
Well,
he
they weren't
introduced
old, though.
himself, and he says, "Hi, what's your name?" And my father looked at him and said, "I'm Gunga Din, and this is my elephant." And
Gunga Din.
yeah, it went right over the youth leader's head.
I know, they didn't know history. See, they didn't know
They didn't know
history.
history.
And when you
That's
know
right.
history,
That's
you are more
right.
apt to laugh at things.
That's right.
Can I just say that for a minute before we exit in a few minutes here? I find that the people that really appreciate their history of their own family and the history of life in general tend to be better, when it comes to being jovial and have a little more levity in their life. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that seem like it is?
Yeah. Well, you got to know where you're coming from.
No wonder we laugh every day. It's the truth.
So then, let's see. We were traveling, and then we decided we were around 17 or 18. And
we forgot the 16 year. There's a big thing that happened when we were 16.
Other than you turning 16.
No.
What happened?
Well, the Reverend Dave Bailey.
Yeah.
From Ranch Hope for Boys.
Now, you want to know a funny story?
It was actually when we were 15, wasn't it?
He was speaking at a Methodist church in my hometown.
Reverend Dave Bailey's from Alloway, New Jersey.
Right. And he started Ranch Hope for Boys 60-some years ago, almost that long, which is a home for troubled teens. And a fantastic thing he's done there. Anyhow, he was speaking one night, I think a Friday night, and they asked Evie Tornquist to come down and sing. So since it was several miles from my home and nobody had to come pick me up to get me over there, at least I don't think so, my parents or your parents came over with you.
Right. And I remember that.
And we went over so I could
hear
play for Evie. Yeah,
Yes.
at Trinity Methodist Church, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
And I went over to
my
play for
word.
Evie, and you came along, and that was the first time I met Dave Bailey.
You are correct.
And Dave knew who your father was because he had gone to high school with him.
Yeah.
So, because they're both born and raised same town. So you got introduced to Dave that night, and I think, if the memory serves, you had a copy of your record with you, and you gave it to Dave.
That's right.
And that began a very long
You
association.
are so right.
with
And I got to
Reverend
tell you,
Bailey,
when I
Reverend
look,
Dave.
Jeff, seriously, if we were to go back and really take an account, and there have been several people, of course there have, and we can name them, but I don't know of one single person that has been one of our greatest promoters and our greatest benefactors and opening up doors for us that we never thought possible than Reverend Dave.
Right. Because not long after that, he started a television program
Right.
based out of a UHF station, Fox station now, in Philadelphia on Saturday nights called 1 Hour for Christ.
Right.
And he insisted that we come up every week and sing at least a couple of numbers on each show, drive up there to Philly. And we did. So every Saturday night for 26 weeks or something like that.
Every Friday we had to get out of school early, which was fun.
Yes, we did, which caused me to fail one of my classes, but that's another
You
story.
never told me that.
Yeah, the teacher.
You're kidding.
Because I didn't put in the quote class time. Yeah.
Well, a lot of good that did for you.
I did all the work, but yeah, it's okay. It's all right. You know?
I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she failed me.
Oh,
Yeah.
for goodness
At least
sake.
for the marking period anyway. So, yeah. But anyway, that's okay. She was a bit of a snoot anyway.
Well, that shouldn't have been right because you were
Well, I know.
expanding your
But
horizons.
But by then we were getting ready to graduate. I had
know.
enough points or whatever
You were
credits. or whatever they
building your
called it.
history.
And I was like, see you later. I wasn't
You were
worried.
you were putting the platform.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee if you were to go back and talk to this woman and find out now, she's probably gone now. She probably would be thrilled that you had expanded your musical, abilities.
Oh, well. But anyway, the point of the matter is that being on Dave's TV program got us a lot of exposure.
Yes, that's right.
That we would not have otherwise received, and it helped quite a bit.
It did.
Yep. Anyway, I sense a podcast number.
Oh
14.
no, we're not. We are not going to drag this out
Okay.
another week.
All right.
We're not.
Well, then you got to buy the book.
You got to buy the book that Jeff Duffield is writing.
Yes,
Are you writing this book?
Slowly.
Okay.
I'm ramping up, kind of like you did when you
'Cause
wrote
this would-
Ubiquitous.
I know, and I can help you with that.
You should.
But we can talk a little bit more. We got a few more minutes here before the Sammy Hall days. We talked that one podcast starting from the Sammy Hall days, but we can talk a little bit more. I remember one night in a Methodist church, I was deathly ill. Do you remember that?
Well, there was a Methodist church. There was a Baptist church. There were several of them.
There were several times for some reason, man. I don't know what it was. And
We pulled up in front of the Methodist church and I stopped the car. And as I did, you opened the door. And let's just say you became ill.
what was wrong with me? It's
I don't know.
What was my problem?
I don't know.
I remember
There
that
was another church, the Baptist church.
downtown Salem.
Yes.
Yeah,
where
I threw up
you had
between
you
every
had a
other
bug.
song.
You had a bug, and you would
Oh,
literally
man.
sing a song, walk off the platform because there was a bathroom in the back,
Right.
and you would walk off the platform and become sick.
Oh my word!
And come back, and I just sat out there and played "It's Howdy Doody Time" or something. I don't know what I did. Yeah, until you got back. That was a memorable night.
Oh my word!
Yeah, kind of like the night that we were talking about that happened years later, where you became sick, and I had to go to a Sunday morning service in a church.
Yeah.
And the church had no keyboard.
No.
And I didn't own a keyboard at that time.
That I would have. Now see,
I
there
had
was
to
something we
sing-
should have archived.
I had to sing our songs with soundtracks that you mostly sang the lead on. And why I didn't call that man and say, listen, pull a sermon out of your file
that's
and
right.
preach one because I ain't a coming. I don't know why I did
So
that.
history basically.
This is history. All right.
History is good. It's so good. And
Yes.
it's so important that I hope that as families that are listening to this podcast will do kind of like what our friends John and Barb Baber did with Bill Moseley, one of our favorite all-time heroes, passed away. And before they did, both of his sons and his kids got together and recorded him talking about his history in World War II.
And his life too.
And his whole life.
Yeah, it was very
Oh,
good. Yeah.
And so maybe we can use this podcast as a little bit of a catalyst for those of you listening to tell your story, write your story.
Maybe our kids will actually listen to it.
Or make up a story if you don't like yours.
Yeah.
I've been known to do that.
Oh no! Really? No, you.
Oh, wow.
I could never do
I
that.
know. But here's a wonderful verse, Jeff. Seriously, thinking about, we talk about how changes happen. Knowing history is vital. Knowing history is important. But again, I say, and it goes back to my heart of hearts. And from Hebrews 13:8 that says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and my favorite word in that scripture is forever.
Yep.
That's the best part.
Yep.
And here we are, 40-some years later. So if we would to say, let's see, 13 years, that's we were 13 years old in 1969. How many years have I
14.
known you?
We were 14 in 1969.
Okay, so we are now. I've known you 50 years? Have I known you in 50 years?
Well, that would be no. You've actually known me 52 years.
See,
Because I'm 65.
This is riveting.
I'm
This is
65.
just-
I know you can't tell, but I'm 65. And you deduct 50 from that, that's 15. And I already knew you for 3 years by the time I was 15.
Oh my goodness.
52 years.
Yep.
Almost 53. Yeah. We've known each other longer than we didn't.
Yeah. And here's my favorite thing that I want to do, and I really make it. I'm going to make it a special effort, even when I'm with my grandchildren. They need to know about their grandmom, and they need to know about their grandpop, and they need to know the value of what our spiritual walk is. And I've made a decision not to force or not to do anything, but just really live the gospel before them and remind them how much value they are and what a miracle they are.
Yeah.
And Psalm 78, 3 and 4 reminds me again that things that we have heard or known that our fathers have told us, we will not hide them from our children, but tell to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and his might and his wonders that he has done for all of us. So again, thank you, Jeff. And I think also for this podcast, it's a reminder once again of the incredible sustaining power of Jesus. We are not perfect.
No.
It's pretty hilarious, some of the stuff that we went through.
Oh, we're just telling the funny stuff.
I know. But the blessing is that history is good.
Yeah.
And history is good to know. And don't be part of the cancel culture. Don't be part of those that just want to obliterate everything, because there's so much that we can learn.
Yep.
So next week will be episode 14. Who knows what we'll do, but I will say this in the meantime. I guarantee it will always be entertaining. That's our hope and our dream. Thanks for tuning in again to the Subiquitous Podcast, episode 13. Oh, history is so good, part 2. And we'll be back again next week. Be sure to get on SueDuffield.com. And if you'd like to interact with me via mailing address, my mailing address is P.O. Box 2172, Hendersonville, Tennessee 37077, or send me an email at radiosue@me.com. I'd love to hear your stories. I thank you in advance for those of you that have gifted us with your support. We're going to be here every Tuesday for you, or any day that you download the app. We would love for it to be a part of your, what I would call the technicality of radio, where we're able at any time, at any place, to connect with each other. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.